Hey guys, you're listening to Wait Out Radio. My name's DJ Paula Frost. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. Right now, we've got a very special treat for you. We have an interview with the wonderful Steve Lowis from Tonic Music Mental Health. So, Steve is a registered mental health nurse, singer-songwriter, and an event organizer. So, how you doing, Steve?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Yeah, getting by. Yeah, I've got quite a few different roles really, so I kind of dip in and out, which is quite useful. Yeah, to be during this last year really to be able to yeah, where gigs and events and things have come to a bit of a halt. I've sort of always had the mental health nursing and recovery college work that I do to fall back on. So very fortunate position.
Yeah, so as a musician, I've seen some videos. You do like sofa sounds in Southampton, and from what I can see, you're like a acoustic singer-songwriter. You go on stage with the acoustic guitar and you get other people up. So tell us a bit about your style.
Yeah, well, so I was kind of running. So I've been running so far since 2014, I think it was, and yeah, but I was kind of leading on that really, and then we we get people up to come up and play. It's a worldwide organisation, yeah, it's like intimate gigs, intimate shows. But I mean, I personally I've been playing sort of guitar and things for gosh since don't know, early days, since like I was 12 or 13 and 30 now. So I yeah, it's been just a big passion of mine, and just I've been organising events since I was sort of 16, 17, just kind of wanting to just really enjoyed kind of not just playing, but also kind of just the whole sort of music scene, just getting people together, networking, and yeah, so it's been a long journey of kind of putting shows on, both in just outside of Reading, where I used to come from, and I used to live, and in Southampton. Obviously, I've been here for like about 20 years now, so been putting on shows right from the start, and yeah, my music's I'm a sort of folk singer songwriter, acoustic, but I'm influenced by a lot of different styles of music, and but I would say that my main primary sort of music is folk and alternative country.
Awesome. And would you like to just name a few of your favorite bands for us?
Yeah, so well, one of my favorite bands is Iron and Wine.
Oh yeah,
They're really sort of mellow, and yeah, I think sort of I like to be able to step into that. I really like Jeff Buckley and Nick Drake,
cool.
and gosh, yeah, I mean, in terms of punk and stuff, I mean, I went through an era where I was in the punk scene, so I really love I still love Fugazi,
Yeah,
and Braid, and Texas is the Reason, and who else? Slint, I was listening to quite a bit. So yeah, there was lots of bands like that I sort of ventured into that, and I was a singer, well, kind of singer, sort of shouter, in a punk band called Circus Act. We
cool.
we used to. They played for about 10 years, and I was involved with them for about four. And there was a really good punk scene in Southampton where I am now, and it seems to have dwindled away a bit because of the closures of venues, and I think quite a lot of people got a bit older, so they weren't putting on the music so much. But there was a really good punk scene around here, and it felt underground. It felt
Yeah.
really sort of like a special sort of thing to be involved in, and some incredible acts that that we saw over the years. One of my favorites was a band called Fine Before You Came, and they were from Italy, so they were really cool, really
Awesome.
high energy. It's great sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I know Southampton's like pretty famous for its grassroots music scene. You've got the university there for music students, and my cousin went there and played bass, and he
Cool.
had a really great time. And he's still got loads of friends in Southampton. And I know like Radiohead have passed through the Joiners, and like a lot of
Yeah,
big bands on their way
gosh,
to stardom.
loads of
So a
bands.
lot of legacy there, isn't there?
Huge, yeah, and it's been such a worrying time over the last couple of years to see, um, we've had like Frank Turner and stuff and Band of Skulls coming to do fundraisers down at the Joiners to try and keep the venues open. We lost a really great venue called the Talking Heads. The Brook is still going, and that's quite a big sort of music venue. It's had some amazing acts over the years, and but yeah, I think the Joiners is probably one of the most famous in terms of like local small music venues that have brought bands like Oasis and Coldplay and Radiohead and Blur, and all sorts of people have played there. So it's a great venue, and yeah, just really need to sort of keep it running, keep it going.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so then there's a whole nother side of things and what you do. So
Yeah,
you've worked for Southern Health NHS Foundation
yeah,
Trust in various roles for 15 years.
yeah.
So tell us a bit about that.
So I went from being a carpenter and joiner to just getting
Wow.
laid off and things back in sort of 2002, 2003, and then yeah, I went straight into I was on the dole, and yeah, I was looking for work and ended up in sort of fell into mental health nursing really, and went to Southampton University, and then gained a qualification, and I've been working in services in and around sort of Hampshire ever since. And yeah, it led me down a path from doing some acute mental health nursing to like hospital environments, and then working out in the community. And then I discovered a self-management plan, mental health self-management plan called RAP, which is a wellness recovery action plan.
Hmm.
And that really, it really helped. It just I suddenly just bought into it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic because it was really recovery focused, which is helping people to help themselves, like self-management, and to educate themselves about mental health, and then to be able to put it into practice, because services are so stretched always, and yeah, and lots of funding cuts and things, as I'm sure you're aware of. And so the recovery college was started up in for us in 2013, and I joined in 2014. And so I've been educating, doing courses. We designed about 42 courses when we were running out in the community, that are based around topics of hope, and how to take some control over an agency over your well-being, and stuff about employment, and telling your recovery story and things. So it's it's a really good college, and we offer courses for staff and service users and carers who are in the trust. So I was brought in to provide my professional background and experience and things, but I've also had some personal experiences of anxiety and panic attacks and things before, so, and depression. So I often sort of bring that into the training room as well. But we
Mm.
all just bring in our experience and talk about the topic, that, but also talk about our, how we manage our well-being better. And it's just great opening up that discussion.
Yeah.
Um, and it just felt really the right sort of move for mental health, really, because it's about people empowering people to look after their own well-being. And we don't get taught life skills. It's not in schools and things. We don't learn about what hope means to us, what how we look after ourselves best and things. So it felt really natural to be like, well, this is the approach we should be leading on, really. And so I've been there since 2014, so it's coming up 7 years now, really. So it's yeah, so that's been my journey really with that, and then doing a little bit of sort of nursing and things on the side to keep up my experience with that. And then this year the Tonic Rider and Tonic Music came around in January, which was just brought it all together, tied my music, events organizing, and mental health all together.
Yeah, amazing. No, you just brought up some memories for me because, like, as a musician myself, I always knew what I wanted to do, but even at the age of 4, I was like wanting a guitar and a harmonica. And then when I was a bit older, I found the drums. I played the drums since I was 7, and I was in a lot of bands, and we got a lot of progress. We did well. I mean, I was in 3 bands that got to management level and signed, and we became quite successful, a bit of a buzz around us. And then each band, like one was when I was 18, then what the next one was when I was 22, the next one was when I was sort of 25. Each one eventually ended over a stupid argument. And I'm the kind of peacekeeper glue type of person where I'll take everyone to the pub and be like, let's iron out our differences.
Yeah.
But other people can be quite explosive with their egos.
Yeah.
And I found it really heartbreaking to personally have your own career destroyed by other people's personal silly little niggles. And it really, I became really depressed when I was sort of 25, and I just totally changed my life. I changed where I was living. I just left where I was, and just struggled with that. But I realized then, I was like, I don't know if I can get back in another band as a drummer and let this happen again when I'm 29, you know, and still have made no money and no progress. And so I started DJing, and a lot of people helped me. And with that, I've been able to forge a really nice career. I'm comfortable and I'm happy. But it took a change of direction, and it wasn't easy. You know, a lot of teachers growing up were saying you'll never make it, even the teachers. And you just think, well, they wouldn't say that with
Lovely.
maths or English, would they?
Yeah. It's a real cutthroat kind of industry. It's I mean, I've been in, like I say, bands and things over time, but you don't realize. I've never really felt comfortable to to feel like you make it, or whatever that means really, and to see a career in music. And I've never been sort of into music theory, so I've always just enjoyed it for its kind of creative aspect, and
Yeah.
just so it but you do get led, quite easily led, sort of thinking this is going to be the wonderful dream. I mean, that I was sort of growing up in the 90s and stuff, so it just felt like any band could be like just picked up at any minute, and you'd be on your way to stardom. But you do realize, I think around sort of time for me was like towards my late 20s, that I thought, yeah, I'm pleased that I've kind of got into something to back me up, to fall back on. It still hasn't stopped me from pursuing my music, but the climate and the environment and of the music industry has changed now. Like everything's sort of social media and trying to get more likes, and
It's
it feels
exhausting, isn't it?
so much more competitive.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really, I admire you for looking at different alternatives, and but still staying in the music industry, because I think it's it's obviously something that you really enjoy. And I think to be in a job that you enjoy, I think is one of the best things that you can hope for in life, really.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's true. Like some of my favorite bands are like the punk bands and the reggae bands, and they're all like rebel music, and they do it for
Mm,
your own enjoyment, kind of
yeah,
like Crass, big influence on me. Just do
yeah,
it yourself, don't wait for someone else. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
I wrote on a piece of paper when I was 25, make £12,000 this year and see the world. And I just stuck it on the wall, and I just focused all my attention on that. Like I wanted to make £12,000 from DJing, and I wanted to, yeah, travel. So I did. I booked a world trip. I did the 14 countries, and I managed to make 12 grand. And it was like almost dead on, as if I'd like envisioned it. It was
yeah, yeah,
crazy. And I just remember thinking like, I can turn around now to my mum and dad and be like, I've made my first 10 grand from DJing, which I never imagined in a million years I'd do. And it's a
yeah, yeah,
small amount of money, but that's all I needed just to
yeah,
feel happy and get
yeah,
by.
yeah, absolutely. And I think there's this kind of I th- there's this debate really between doing it, like I say, doing a job that you love and something you love, and having doing a job that's money driven, and I think a lot of the creative um, jobs and creative people out there are kind of often doing jobs that they enjoy doing it, and the money is a sort of secondary thing as long as they can get by. It's but it's a constant battle. I think with bands it's just so difficult. There's so many factors involved with when you're young, when you're sort of late teens and early 20s, your band members are all they're all sort of like, yeah, let's just keep going, it's going to be a good laugh and whatever. And and they're all, hopefully they're all focused on this, we've got the same objective. But it um always makes me really it opens up my eyes to realizing how much commitment you have to put in. And some of these bands, the big bands over the years, Foo Fighters, Green Day, all those 90s
Yeah,
bands, and like how they're still going now, and how much commitment that is included and involved, and all the arguments and the going on a tour bus, and kind of just the late nights, and the squabbles that you have, and the experiences you have, and then the things that you give up as well,
yeah.
that kind of, then you get,
Sleep.
if you yeah, sleep, you give up, and you sort of general well-being, but also things like, you suddenly come out at the end of, after maybe 15 years of doing it at the age of 30, and you think, you're not married, you haven't got kids, those kind of things in life,
Yeah.
it can often hit people thinking, gosh, that's, where am I left now?
Yeah, and for girls as well, I don't want to make it like a women thing, but
No,
just to
go for it.
but just
Absolutely.
to mention,
Mm,
I felt a lot of pressure like that too, like you just said, because I feel like a woman aged
mm,
30 is supposed to have the husband that started the family and the
yeah,
career. So
yeah,
when you're a musician and you've put all that heart and soul into that, I'm really happy with my partner, but we haven't
mm,
started a family. We don't have
mm,
a mortgage.
mm,
We've traveled a lot and we had a lovely relationship, but
yeah,
there's a lot of pressure now. Like, well, you're at your end of your 20s. What have you
yeah,
done? How have you got security? Are you ready? Where's the
yeah,
grandchildren? And you're like,
yeah.
ah.
It's that societal pressure, and the trouble is that you look around you, and a lot of your mates have kind of done that, and they're all sort
Yeah,
of, not saying they're happy necessarily, but they're often kind of settled down, and that whole idea of that societal kind of pressure to do that. And yeah, I'm not in that position at all. And it's now getting to, well, I'm 40 next year, so it's I'm kind of I'm all right about it. But like you say, there's a
yeah,
lot more pressures on women, and to because of the biological clock and things as well. So
yeah,
for
exactly.
children. So yeah, it's a really difficult and unreliable, unpredictable business, and to go into. And obviously there's no financial security and that kind of stuff. I've got a friend of mine who's over in LA, and he's sort of toured with Willie Nelson and Johnny
Oh
Cash,
wow.
and when they were sort of going around with, is it Traveling Wilburys, I think. And yeah, he's met some of the legends, BB King, and yeah, he's incredible sort of songwriter and a musician. But he, in terms of like a pension and things, I mean, he's now in his 50s, late 50s, and there's things that, like, how do you fall back on some of these bits? If you haven't, where do you get your pension from? You have to obviously pay into your own sort of thing. But if you haven't maybe earned enough to get a mortgage, have you got a house to fall back on? Or it's a
Yeah,
lot of things to factor into account. And when can you retire? you know
yeah, of course.
at
A lot.
some stage, you're
Yeah, I mean,
gonna.
a lot of these older punk bands are like
Yeah,
still going,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they've celebrated 40 years
yeah,
of the Ruts, 40 years of the Specials, 40 years of
yeah,
Crass, and you're just thinking they're still on the road, and
yeah,
why? Because
mm,
some of them have had a divorce and really
yeah,
lost a lot of money, or some of them have just never had any money despite their
yeah,
massive record sales, and you just think, wow, it's an amazing lifestyle. It's so different, isn't
yeah,
it?
absolutely. And the music changes, and the genres change, and things are a lot more electronic and digital now. But so you wonder, like, vinyl. Obviously, I was reading a bit about HMV opening up again, and how that's being converted into sort of more of a vinyl sort of store. So that it goes through trends, doesn't it? There's a lot of people that go back to some of those older bands because because it's like the genres come back around again. The punk's back
Yeah,
on the rise, and vinyl's on the rise, and so you kind of a lot of kids, sort of younger kids now, are looking at older bands that used to only release vinyls.
yeah, sure, and
Yeah, it's a funny old game.
It's got to the point sometimes where I'll sit and interview someone and say, okay, so when the first album came out, you know, you just formed the band, you were rehearsing here, and they're just going, Paula, I'm 70. I don't remember any of that. You're like, wow, you're 70. You can't
Yeah,
age. You're iconic.
I know. Yeah, you do get into that trap of thinking that people are always going to be. As I went to see Bob Dylan and Neil Young a couple of years ago, and it was quite amazing to see like Neil Young just bombing around the stage, and
Yeah.
Bob Dylan was interesting. You know, it's hard to recognize his songs. He's like this all the time. You know,
Yeah.
can't really understand what you're saying, Bob. But yeah, you know, some of those the older artists are fantastic, and I saw Paul Simon, he's amazing
Wow.
live,
Cool.
and you know, and Stevie Wonder, oh, what a legend.
Yeah.
But some of them are able to keep going, but some of them are, you go and watch them and you think, yeah,
Yeah.
a
I
little
heard
bit past their
about
best.
I heard about Ozzy Osbourne having a secret vocalist behind the curtain doing the high notes for him. I don't want to say whether that's true or not, but you know, it makes a bit of sense.
It kind of does, doesn't it? Yeah, that would, yeah. You're doing miming. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah. So it's a strange business, and it's forever changing. And yeah, I think that it's really, you know, it obviously brings to light a lot of, because of those changes, and because of fundamentally, like this last year really has been a devastating for musicians, and for venue owners, and those that work in the business. I think you know, it's like the Wall Street crash. It's really kind of hit hard
Yeah.
for people, and
There's a song there.
yeah, yeah. Um, and yeah, so you know, Tonic Music has, like I say, has stepped into my life at you know, a really good time.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the recovery focus course and the three objectives, which are reduce stigma around mental health, empower people to take control of aspects of their life, and instill the hope and belief that mental health recovery is possible.
Yeah, we've got like a three-prong attack really, that we're delivering our mental health related work to sort of music professionals. So um, we we've just been developing a course on music performance anxiety, for instance, which is going to be helping musicians and people in the music industry that work in the music industry to learn about anxiety, and to learn about specifically music performance anxiety, and so that's going to be starting in the next sort of month or two, and then we've had a peer group which has been run by Adam Fietchek from Baby Shambles,
Oh,
who's a psychotherapist. He's become a psychotherapist over the years since you know, sort of stepping back from the band, and so the training, well, so it's like a peer group. We've been running it for the last sort of 3 weeks, and again, it's been people with who are musicians who have either have a diagnosis, a mental health diagnosis, or have really suffered from the difficulty of this last year, maybe being out of work and things. And again, people in the music industry working in venues. It's been a real nice sort of mix of people. We've got about 12 people in the group. And that's really just been an open, safe space, private space to talk about issues, talk about looking after our well-being, looking after, you know, focusing on recovery, so how we can come back from this and return back into the music scene and our different roles within that, and just supporting each other. So like I say, some peer support for each other to share our experiences about the challenges that we've been facing, and how we've managed some of those changes, and yeah, it's been just really useful and beneficial to open up and talk about mental health specifically, but also just to recognize that a lot of us are often in very similar have had very similar experiences, and that sort of shared, that sort of shared sort of experience that we all have. Because I think music, well, I think from what I've gained from being at some of those groups, people are, it's a non-stop life as a musician and working in the music industry. So when it gets going again, it's like you just get back into some of the old habits and routines, which I think for some people it's taken a toll on their mental health, and then again to have it all stop and to refocus, think about what your position is, what your identity is, what your role is, what whether you can sustain a job and a career in music. And there's been a lot of those discussions have been raised.
Yeah.
So that's really, so we're targeting, like you say, like the recovery, mental health, the hope, and things through that peer group. But we're also doing it through we're offering venues and musicians suicide prevention training and some mental health first aid training, which we've partnered up with mental health First Aid England to provide. So I'm going to get trained up in mental health first aid training, but we've got somebody who works for them who will be delivering some regular sessions in mental health first aid. So that's basically a training package that provides sort of skills for people who, like I say, working in venues, managers of bands, and also musicians themselves, to recognise how they can either support somebody who's having mental health difficulties or to manage it themselves as well. So that's going to be really good. That's another sort of form of, we're doing that over Zoom, and we're obviously able to capture venues and organisers and musicians all around the country, which is one of the benefits of using Zoom and these kind of platforms, because you can access people without having to travel distances and things. So that's great. And then we're just going to be doing some the Tonic. This is all part of the Tonic Rider, so we're going to be sort of putting up posters and advertising in green rooms and on the walls in venues, and we're trying to work with we started off piloting some work with offering the mental health first aid and the peer support and stuff to the 100 Club in London.
Cool.
And they've got on board, and the Wedgwood Rooms in Portsmouth. So we're going to be sort of working with those two venues to start off with over the next sort of between now and the end of the year, and then as we sort of gradually sort of build our support, our following, and recognizing the need for what we're doing, what we're delivering, we'll be opening it up hopefully to venues across and organisations, music organisations across the whole country. So it's really wonderful to work with venues, with organisers, and to obviously challenge the stigma around mental health, and specifically musicians who are struggling. So
yeah, definitely. I just wanted to ask you a little bit about, say, in the history of the music industry, what you're doing is pretty revolutionary, which is almost shocking in a way, because it seems like sending people out to work with no training. Like, oh, you're really talented, off you go, and then we'll just stand by and keep saying yes while you crash. Like at the top end of the music industry, massive stars have come forward and said nobody cared about me when I was at my heights. I was totally alone. I didn't trust anyone, which is quite scary. So I wondered if you knew if there were any other things that had happened like this, because just off the top of my head, I think that Motown Records would train their musicians of how to conduct themselves, and they would sort of run them quite closely. But apart from that,
personally myself, no. I mean, I've spoken to the Steph, who started up Tonic Music, was one of the founders, one of the main founder really. She, I've spoken to her and I've sort of said, like, it's this is what's what's the market like out there for the sort of things that we're delivering. And I think, she said, I think, it's quite, we're kind of pioneers in this, and
Yeah.
it's there's various different, I mean, help musicians do offer mental health support and 24-hour phone lines and things, and support through that kind of stuff. But I think specifically what we're doing, where we're trying to work with organizations, venues, and and musicians, and bring them all together, not sort of, we're not like a business that's kind of like, we're taking this on board. We want to work, we want to bring people in, bring people's experience in, and try and promote and advertise mental health as a whole. And we're obviously, I just started in January, but I've already kind of seen how wide reaching we are across the country with the different organizations and people that we have linked with us. But also I can see, I've recognized the need for it as well, and the demand for that. And so, our workshops that we deliver are locally, our our mental health first aid training that we're going to be offering, and the peer support groups and things are all getting booked up really, really quickly. And so I'm sure there'll be other teams that will catch on, and I do hope that there is, because it's something that we just need to, the more we can speak about it and advertise it and talk about it, the more help it'll bring to those people that are in need. I was watching the Avicii documentary a couple of nights ago, and I'd heard about him, but I wasn't necessarily into that sort of type of music. I hadn't realized quite how
big he was,
how massive he was, and how quickly that came about. And I'd like to say it's a one-off, but it really isn't. And I think it's I think it's a tragedy that Amy Winehouse and and Avicii and more recently the chap from
Keith Flint, Prodigy.
Keith Flint, absolutely. Yeah, there seems to be kind of a
reoccurring nightmare,
reoccurring sort of thing that's going on, and it needs to it needs to be addressed. There's no two ways about it. It's people need to know that they can talk, and if managers and venues and people in that industry, if they don't feel that they're able to offer that themselves, then that's where they can turn to teams like us to step in and help them. And I feel that's we're just trying to get into the heart of it, and I've found a lot with working in mental health over the years that it's a bit of a cliche now, but talking about it is it's number one, really, trying to break down that stigma, because you still hear language that in society that is just really so discriminatory and out of date, and really doesn't support people's ability to be able to or want to kind of speak out about it.
There's quite a lot
devastating effects.
Yeah, sure. I was just going to say there's quite a lot of Victorian mentality left over in this country, where people say, oh, come on, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, cheer up, chin up. Yeah. And it's not always like that. Sometimes you just need someone to listen.
Yeah, if only it was as simple as that. If I could just wear a pair of boots and pull them up, that'd be great.
Do you do those?
Well, I'll be telling you a secret there. I'm giving you away a secret. Yeah, so we're bringing that, and we're also going to be, as I say, I'm working on working with Express FM at the moment, who are in Portsmouth-based radio station, who are doing like a well-being and mental health podcast, like not a podcast, but like a sort of a slot. So I'm sort of doing talks about anxiety and food and mood and setting goals and and depression and all it's sort of little sort of snippets, like 10-minute sort of snippets for them to put on the radio.
Cool. It's really
and
good.
Again, it's another way of just thinking creatively and thinking dynamically and outside the box, really, to how can we drive this into people's sort of circles of influence,
Yeah.
And then we're going to be having we've got some zines and some brochures and publications which we're pulling together to be able to take out to the venues and organizations and things to just have it laying about in the green rooms so that people can pick them up, take them home, have a read, but also know where that sort of help is if they need it and require it. So
Okay, so if someone was to come along and do a course with you guys, would
yeah.
it be like kind of bunch of musicians sitting in a circle sharing a story, or would it be like a classroom situation? What would you expect?
Well, at the moment, I can only talk for how it is now,
Yeah.
and it kind of threw me a bit when you sort of said about the courses and things, because it was we've got we're working on courses that we're going to be able to deliver, and
Oh,
really
okay.
the peer support group is there's a lot of plans for this year, and it's going to be
Cool.
a growing thing. But as you said, it's the first time Tonic Rider is kind of one of the first, so we're trying to sort of we're building it up slowly. Yeah, at the moment it's so people can get in touch with us and inquire about us through through the Tonic Rider email, but it's we're focusing on people who are it's been a bit of a challenge because we don't want to shut people out, but at the moment we're focusing on people whose primary job is to work in the music industry, and that includes like professional musicians, so musicians who are rather than bedroom musicians who are have it as a profession or a career, yeah, and touring as well. So that really it's not that, because I'm a bedroom musician, really. I mean, I've been on a few little tours, but nothing like compared to what a band or a solo artist would do. But it's focusing on those sort of that kind of criteria. But if you fit into that criteria at the moment, then you can email tonicrider@tonicmusic.co.uk, and and just inquire. It'll come through to our team. I'm sort of leading on the team, so it'll come through to my email, and we can signpost you to the the resources and the groups and things that we've got running at the moment. And as I say, within the next let's say within the next 3 or 4 months, we'll hopefully be back into a venue. We're looking at venues in Southsea at the moment, and we do have a little shop as well at the moment, a Tonic music shop. So we have been in the past. I was delivering workshops and things from there. And we've got vocal groups and things as well that happen during the week, and sort of we're going to be having well-being sort of groups and things. So I would like to, I mean, it's lovely to have people together. It's one thing, a massive thing that I miss is being around people. There's nothing better than it. But for the time being, we're going to be delivering on Zoom, and we've got set up with that. So people can just get in touch.
Cool.
And as I say, linking in with yourself, it's fantastic, and thank you so much for asking me to come on and speak with you about it.
No
the interview's been absolutely lovely. I felt really relaxed, so thank you.
Oh, good. Great.
But yeah, so that's so people can go onto the website right now.
Yeah.
tonicmusic.co.uk. We've got all the different brochures and things about what the Tonic Rider program is and what we offer, and just keep up to date with us on our Instagram, Facebook, and we'll be sort of, and Twitter as well, and we'll just keep people up to date with how we're sort of plodding along and developing.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah.
yeah,
So, and if you also want to go to the Way Out Radio website, wayoutradio.com, we will blast this all over there and we'll give you the links. So, yeah, you can get involved. And I think I was going to ask, I mean, the business model kind of way you're doing it at the moment,
yeah.
you've got these two venues which you're going to try your ideas out in, and then it will spread. I mean, do you think in
Mm.
the future you might have a street team? Because I know there'll be so many listeners that are like, I go to gigs all the time, I'd happily spread your flyers around and talk to my local venues. So you've probably already got a great musicians network just ready and raring to go.
Yeah, absolutely. When we when we sort of when the team's been sort of running and festivals have been going on, we've been linked in with Glastonbury and Isle of Wight
Cool.
and Boomtown and some of those kind of festivals. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're already starting to hear from festival organisers this year that with the remaining sort of few that have been able to take the risk and the gamble of putting a festival on. So we're going to be sort of linked in with with the different festivals. I think this year, I can't think off the top of my head which festivals we're linked in with, but often we have links in with Victoria's Festival, and yeah, we're in talks with the Boomtown Festival as well at the moment. So,
Excellent. Yeah,
and
they're
then
really forward
conferences
thinking, I
and
think.
yeah, and we've got a wonderful team of volunteers that have helped us out in the past. We go to a lot of different gigs, and we have and we will be doing. We have sort of a table where we're and we have a tent at festivals, where we sort of advertise and help people if they want to come and talk to us about mental health, or just are interested in helping out. And yeah, so I just can't wait to get outdoors, get to the
Yeah.
gigs and start. Yeah, and if anybody wants to get involved with that, we're always looking for help, for keen volunteers,
Yeah.
and obviously donations and things. This whole the Tonic Rider was all based on donations and fundraising. Specifically a fundraising event called Barry's Flying Circus, which is Barry from
Dub
the
Pistols.
Dub Pistols,
Yeah.
Ashworth. So yeah, so there was the wing walk, and we're organising another wing walk as well this year. So it's basically we had Bez from the Happy Mondays like walking on the wings of the plane, and there was about another 18 different musicians and people in coming to sort of walk on the plane. So I missed that last year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that again this year. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually doing the wing walk this year, so make
you
sure
are
that you send us a
great.
donation. We're trying to aim for £500 at the minute. We've just got the first £100 over the mark, so that's good. So if you go to justgiving.com and search up Paula's Wing Walk and get on board with that, and it all goes to Tonic Music for Mental Health.
Oh, Paula, thank you. That's really
No
good.
worries.
Have you done it before then?
No, I just got a call from Barry the other day, and he was just like, "Do you like extreme sports and stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Do you want to do the flying circus?" I was like, "What, like bears and all those cool people?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
It's
But
great. No, there are some really great names like yourself getting on board with it this year. So yeah, any sort of fundraising helps. It's fantastic. So yeah, if you like the sound of what we're doing, then yeah, if you can help in any way, that'll be brilliant.
excellent. Yeah, no, thank you. And it's such a
Yeah,
great
thank you.
cause. I couldn't turn it down. So I just
Amazing.
wanted to support as much as possible. But I'm happy to do flyering as well. Ground
Great.
level stuff.
Yeah, you have to. You just need people. Yeah,
Yeah.
as with anything, and just the more people get on board with things and start spreading our name and and spreading the word and things, then the more people will know about us, and they can get the help if they require it. Yeah,
Excellent. All right, I better
cool.
let you go, but thank you so much for being
Thanks.
on the show. And we
That's all
would
right.
love to catch up with you in a few months' time or a year's
Yeah,
time and see how everything's going to change for us in this country
yeah,
and in the world as COVID sort of
yeah.
hopefully subsides a bit and we get back to our lives and freedoms. So, yeah, let's catch up when it's in full swing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like I say, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure that the environment will be a different place when we get back to venues and get hearing some music again and watching some good live music. But I just want to say, good luck, and all sending my best wishes to all the musicians and people working in music industry, or returning back to the music industry in their different roles coming forward. I just wish you all my best.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to all the fans as well who've been supporting their local musicians. I know a lot of you have been donating to musicians on Facebook Live and buying their merch. So thanks to all the fans that have been helping us through this time, because without you, we wouldn't have a lot. So thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of respect out there. Definitely.
All right. Well, have an amazing rest of your day, and
Thank you.
hope to speak to you again.
Thanks. I look forward to it.
All right. Take care.
Good luck with
Steve.
your wing walk. I'm sure I'll catch you there.
Yeah, well, it's not really a aspect of luck. It's whether I live or die.
Yeah, probably luck's not the best way.
Hopefully, I stay attached.
I mean, good luck with the fundraising of it, not the actual standing on the top of the plane.
Yeah, I'm just being silly. Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yeah, thanks. Hey guys, DJ Paula Frost here from Way Out Radio, the one and only punk and reggae station, broadcasting every week. Go to wayoutradio.com for more. So I just want to tell you guys about the brand new fan club we've just launched. It's absolutely amazing. You can choose from contributing £5, £10 or £20 per month to keep the station alive, pay our guests handsomely, and keep music money in the musician's pocket and in the punk world and in the reggae world. So find out more about that at wayoutradio.com. Thank you very much.